Children, in the last class we learnt about the earth movements and the seasons, and now we move on to the next chapter, that's the polar region. So you know it very well. Polar region is a region which is adjacent to the poles, towards the north and towards the south. Extreme north and extreme south region of the globe is called as the polar region. So we might have learnt about the other regions like the temperate region, equatorial region, but now we move on to the polar region. So this region is actually covered with the snow throughout the year. The entire polar region has been shaded lightly, if you notice in the atlas. So this is also known as the Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. The northern parts of the continents within the polar region is known as the tundra region. If you go to the Asia northernmost part, you will see that it's completely covered with the snow, and that is called as the tundra region. Tundra means very cold. Since the tundra region gets a very little sunlight and very unique kind of vegetation we find there, so it is called as tundra vegetation. And coming to the tundra region, children, there are different kinds of seasons which experience extreme cold. So in the tundra region it is extremely cold, and it is difficult even to imagine the cold every day, the cold in the tundra. In India, the sun rises and sets every day, but this does not happen every day in the tundra region. It is almost dark throughout the November, December and January, since the sun does not rise at all. That means for 3 months the sun doesn't rise in this region, and it is completely dark. You know that even it is extremely cold, water freezes to become ice in this extreme cold. The water of the rivers, lakes and even the sea freezes. Strong cold winds also blow, and there is a heavy snowfall in this region. Due to the severe cold, dark and icy conditions, all the plants die in this region. So no plants take its birth there, they doesn't they doesn't flourish, and even birds and animals leave this region and migrate elsewhere because they can't find the food. The whole region becomes dark, deserted and desolate during these 3 months of year. The sun begins to shine in the tundra region only in the months of February and March. In the beginning, the sun shines for a maximum of an hour, and slowly, gradually it lengthens to 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, and for 24 hours it keeps on shining. Then for almost 3 months, from May to July, May, June, July is summer in tundra region, where the sun shines all 24 hours. But the sun does not rise overhead, so overhead it doesn't come. It is only above the horizon. The horizon is the place where the earth appears to meet the sky. It only rises above the horizon and sets there. Since the sun does not go high up in the sky, it is never warm in the tundra region. Even in the 3 months of summer, children, it is cold, but is comparatively less cold than the winter months. That's the only difference you find in the summer season at the tundra region. Some of the ice melts during this warm weather conditions. The rivers which are frozen during the winter season melt and they begin to flow. The lakes fill up, and the huge chunks of ice they break off and float on the oceans, as well as they are called as the floating ice is called as iceberg. You remember about the Titanic film, children? How the Titanic ship got sunk? It has hit with the iceberg. The floating ice is called as an iceberg. So it is during the summer season the ice melts and breaks, and it keeps on floating on the ocean, which are called as icebergs. The land which was frozen and desolate in winter comes alive with colors during the summer. When summer approaches, many colored plants, lichens, grass and deer flowers and fruits of different colors, many birds and animals, they come on them and feed. So this is a kind of atmosphere changes in the summer season due to the sunshine. Coming to the vegetation, due to the cold, due to the upper soil surface is completely frozen, the rock state, it's called as a rock state, and which doesn't allow for the penetration of the roots into it. This is called as a permafrost. It's nothing but permafrost. Permafrost is nothing but the soil completely turns into rock because of ice completely covering for 8 to 9 months. The surface becomes like a permafrost. As there is little soil, only some small plants can grow there, and the underground soil being hard, it is difficult for the big trees to grow and its roots to manage and penetrate. Even if they manage to grow the trees, they get damaged and uprooted with the strong winds and storms which take place during the winter season. So most of the tundra region is treeless. Most of the tundra region you find it as a treeless, and the Arctic is a region of vast treeless plains, ice and barren rocky islands. This harsh cold land is a home of Eskimos, children. Have you seen Eskimos? Never. So these are the people who reside in that region. Generally we don't find any kind of habitation. We can't live in such harsh conditions. It's not suitable for the human habitations. But the people who live in these harsh conditions are called as Eskimos. They live in the scattered settlements in Greenland, Canada, Alaska and Siberian region. And for thousands of years, the Eskimos were isolated from other people, from civilization. They lived by hunting and fishing, and they developed a way of life that is well suited to their homeland. Their homeland is, this tundra region is their homeland. So the Eskimos traditionally way of life developed to meet the challenges of the far north. This section describes the way of life of the Eskimos followed until recently. Of course, now they met with the present civilized people, and there are a lot of changes which occurred even in the Eskimos lifestyle. But even now, some of us are getting into the deep into the tundra region, and they are getting settled down there. But until recently, the kind of lifestyle they followed, we shall see. The most commonly accepted meaning of Eskimo means snowshoe knitter. I write it Eskimo means snow shoe knitter. So this is the meaning for the people who got settled in this region. It's a snowshoe knitter. There are two important groups referred to as Eskimos. One is Inuit. The other one is Yupik. These are the two important groups which are found in the Eskimos. So Inuit in their language means the people. Inuit means the people or the real people. These Eskimos are the descendants of Siberia, now a part of Russia in the northern Asia. So Inuit is nothing but the meaning is real people. And Eskimos languages have been spoken for thousands of years, but they don't have a written script. In the modern times, they are developing it, but they don't have any script. There are three main languages, which is only spoken language. There is no dialect. So, Aleut, Yupik, and Inupiq. Aleut, I write it here. Aleut, it's one language. Yupik is another language, and Inupiq. These are the three languages spoken by these two groups. The Eskimos first entered North America about 5,000 years ago. They are crossing the Bering Straits from Asia. And today the Eskimo population is not large, but it is growing slowly. The Eskimos live in small groups, fairly in small groups. There are villages of over 500 people on the northern Alaska coast. A typical group might have 25 to 45 people only. And eastern groups may move from place to place throughout the year, following a fairly fixed order of seasonal activities. They spend the winters near the coast hunting for seals and fishing. In summer, they move inland to hunt for caribou and gather berries. Gathering of berries. Women generally gather the berries, whereas the men go for hunting of caribou. So sometimes they cover a circuit of about 1100 kilometers in this migration. Because in summer they move towards inland, and during the winter they go to the coastal region. They cross snow and ice on sledge pulled by the sledge dogs, and they travel on water in open boats like Umikes. And in the recent times, motorboats have largely been used and replaced the sledges and kayaks. There is a close cooperation is important if the members of an Eskimo group to survive in these harsh conditions. these members would work together in activities such as hunting. For example, in Eastern Europe, 10 to 12 hunters would be needed in order to harpoon a caribou or a seal. So this is how the hunting takes place, and the group life goes out in the Eskimo region. Children, tomorrow we shall further understand about the kind of dress they wear and the kind of shoes they wear in order to protect themselves from these harsh conditions. Thank you, children.